Hi Grieve friends, I'm Eleanor from What's Your Grief, and in this video I want to talk to you about the many different types of losses that a person can grieve. Oxford Dictionary defines grief as deep sorrow, especially that which is caused by someone's death. Makes sense, right? Because if someone dies, there's almost always grief. But does that mean that the reverse has to be true? If there's grief, there's almost always death at its source? No, not necessarily. Because there are many, many, many different types of losses that a person can grieve. Some of these losses do happen as the result of the death of a loved one. In these cases, we call these losses secondary losses, because when someone dies, it often sets off a domino effect of secondary losses. Some of these losses, though, don't have anything to do with the death of a loved one. It would be impossible for us to list off every single loss that can cause a person to experience grief, because loss is so specific to the person and to their life and to the things that they value and to the things that they cherish. But some common non-death losses that we hear people talk about are things like divorce, loss of a home, job loss, loss of identity, infertility, and the list goes on and on and on. Someone once asked us in one of our workshops, can you grieve the loss of a cell phone? To which I was like, I don't think so, that seems silly. But then I realized that so many of the things that cause us to feel grief, so many of the losses that we grieve are things that other people would never recognize. They're things that to other people don't seem significant at all, things that maybe other people don't even know about. And what if on this gentleman's phone he had hundreds of photographs of the people who he loves? What if he had all of his contacts for his family and friends? What if he was saving a voicemail from someone who died? And now that he's lost this phone, he feels like these things are gone forever. So many of the losses that are significant to us are significant because they tie to things that we value and to things that we cherish, things like home, family, and identity. So if you're grieving something that to other people seems so insignificant, that's okay, go ahead and grieve it. You can grieve the loss of a cell phone and anything like it. People often mistakenly think that in order to feel grief, some sort of threshold has to be met. The loss has to be so significant to trigger this big grief response. But that's not really how grief works. In reality, we can grieve smaller losses, things that cause us certain amounts of pain and sorrow, but which we can easily cope with and manage and integrate into our lives. And then we sometimes experience big, profound losses, things that are earth-shattering, things that turn our world upside down. And these are losses that do cause us those immense amount of grief, and these are the losses that we don't ever get over. Grief exists on a continuum, and sometimes we're surprised at the losses that cause us these immense amount of grief. And sometimes we're surprised at the losses that we thought would cause us a ton of grief, which actually don't. What we most want you to take away from this video is that whatever it is you're feeling, whatever it is you're grieving, you're normal and it's okay. Even if people around you think it's insignificant, even if you yourself are surprised by something that's causing you grief, it's normal. We all go through this from time to time. So, I hope that this video has been helpful. If you are grieving something that other people don't see as significant or that other people are invalidating, feel free to share and maybe it'll be a little bit enlightening. And also please go ahead and comment below about the losses that you're experiencing, whatever it is that you're going through, and don't forget to subscribe to What's Your Grief on YouTube.